Yeah. Okay. So there's almost a sort of a question before you actually get into this list of your negatives and positives. A bigger question in terms of...
There's a bigger question.
Do we go ahead?
Rather than just... I think I'm married to somebody who just loves... he loves creating chaos, you know. So his release from work is go and do a building project. You know, whether it's hacking away in the garden and building something, but he just loves DIY.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we've got refused planning permission. So what else could we do? So I think it's just checking that what we're doing is actually going to give us what we want long term. It's not just a great fun thing to do because he's a bit bored, so let's have a building project.
And have you defined what it is that you want long term?
We've defined that we want more space. This particular project, because what we originally planned, we can't do. We've been refused planning permission. So the easy project that we thought we could do that would give us a lot of space has been refused. So this is more complicated and doesn't quite give us the space where we wanted it. So there is a step here about making sure that we don't just rush into something without making sure that what we're going to get really meets our needs.
Yeah.
So there's a conversation to be had. As we get
so when you say we...
my husband and I. My husband and I.
Yeah. And it sounds as though you may be coming from different perspectives as well.
Well, yes, I mean, I would just like I would like the perfect living and working environment ready-made.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not like that.
Yeah.
So, bless him, Bob's very good at helping to create that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to mind the chaos as much as I do.
Yeah.
I think he can work in a real big muddle.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, as I said, having a sanctuary, having that space, I think it's more important. So there's a difference in style. So.
Yeah. Well, you said at the beginning was that you work partly from home in terms of you administer your business from home. So actually, when you say working, you work from home. Bob doesn't work from home.
Well, he does now. He didn't
okay.
some years ago.
Okay.
He does primarily work from home as well,
Right,
so it would
okay.
actually be quite disruptive to him as well. Although he has the option, he still has an office space in a corporate office.
Yeah.
So it's a choice he's made to be based from home. But he could, if it got too noisy, he could just drive down the road and go to work. For me, I would need to rent an office.
Okay.
So, which is perfectly possible.
So there's the conversation needs to take place in terms of whether or not you go ahead, taking into account all of the things that you just said there. Yeah. Okay. So let's go right back to the beginning of the conversation then, when you said you're not necessarily looking for actions from today, you're looking for ideas and maybe a different perspective. Obviously we've covered a number of things already, and the things that you want to sort of park and go into more detail, you'll have the opportunity to do that when you review the tape. So what else can we do today in terms of this conversation that's going to help you?
I think that's pretty much it, Ro, actually. I just need to sort of recap what I'm taking away, I think. So I think there's the two aspects. One is the big question. One is the big question of does this make sense? You know, so we have this lovely idea of extending this space, which is going to cost however many thousands of pounds. I think it will probably cost much more than we budget for, because things tend to. So is it worth the time, the money, the energy? And what's the impact of investing the time in that? And then, once we're sure about that we're doing it for the right reasons, it's okay, if we're going ahead, let's do this in a very planned, organised way, where we have minimum disruption and maximum benefit, and just move it through with as much control as we can muster. given the nature of that kind of work.
Yeah.
Because there will probably be some unexpected. Keep looking to the roof. It's usually the roof.
It's a significant thing for you.
Well, it's an old building, and so what happens is that when somebody starts cutting into the roof, they come and say, "Oh, Mrs. Burton, oh, we've just noticed that you've got no such and such, so we can't do what you thought you could do." So there, inevitably, there will be some adjustment of the plan as we go along.
Yeah.
But we know that now.
Okay.
We know it's. And I'm prepared that it's going to be horrible, and so anything more than that.
It might not be horrible.
It might not be horrible. It might not be horrible, and I want to minimise the horror.
Yeah. Okay, so it's about minimising the horror.
And I think one other thing is to add into that is that as we go along, is to give ourselves little rewards.
Right.
So if it's a difficult plan, so if it means that. Part of the house is out of action. Well, let's have a treat. Let's go out for a nice meal. Go away somewhere special that makes this project interesting as we go.
Okay, so that sounds more than just minimising the horror. That sounds actually making it fun, making it. You've got a reward in there. You've got some pleasure. I think was the word that you used.
Yeah.
So
so we could. I think Bob would really love to be Kevin McLeod of Grand Designs. That would be his dream job. Yeah. So how could we make this our mini Grand Design?
Wow.
As opposed to some horrible, slash and burn building mess.
So how could we make this our Grand Design? Wow. Just think about that for a minute then. How could you?
Well, one thing I'm fighting for is very big windows in this space, because I think there's something about letting a lot of light in, and it's tempting sometimes to keep cutting costs, so you have an idea and then it gets cut back and there's a compromise, but holding out. So I've learnt to hold out for what I want as opposed to compromising on, say, quality of windows. It's windows really.
Okay. So that would make it your Grand Design?
It would make it my Grand Design. And the other thing is to actually feel part of it rather than let the boys sort it.
Yeah.
Let Bob and the architect and the builder between them sort it. Actually have my mark on it as well. Okay.
And how would Bob respond to that Grand Design idea?
Yes, I think he would like that. I have to start calling him Kevin.
We'll get the camera around.
We'll get the camera around, yes, and we'll be on TV.
Excellent.
Yeah, that could be quite fun, really. Sort of almost like chart it as our Grand Design. I mean, it's not really a massive project, but it might be the start of another one. I think part of this is that we want to improve this space with a view to selling it probably within 5 or 7 years. So then that provides the space to connect perhaps the bigger design.
Yeah. Hence Grand Design.
Hence Grand Design.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. It's transformed the conversation from what don't I want to happen when the builders come in to this is a Grand Design.
Yeah. Kate's Grand Design. Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to cover in the session? We've probably got a couple more minutes left.
I think that's been really useful now, actually.
Fantastic.
So I came in with a very vague idea of what I wanted to talk about, and I think I've got some tangibles there in terms of what I need to go away with, but also a sense of it's not just a boring project, but it could actually become quite exciting.
Sounds very exciting.
Yeah. So it'll be a good space to work in and to live in. So. And a very good place to run my writers' workshops. So it will open up that space into the garden. So it brings the home and the work together in a new way. Okay, so you use the word sanctuary earlier on, so that sounds it will be creating a new sanctuary. Yes.
Creating a new sanctuary. Okay.
So, and I think if work and living space can both be a sanctuary, that's a great way to work.
Yeah. Wow, so sounds as though you've got some really great things to take away there with you.
Yes, I have, thank you.
So can you just give me a little bit of feedback for the viewers as well, in terms of how was that for you as an experience in terms of being coached?
I think that was a very light and easy conversation. So, as I say, I came into this session with a vague idea of something that's on my mind that I hadn't really thought through, and quite an not a major aversion, but an aversion to it. So I think from your questioning and just listening there, it felt non-intrusive, felt as if it opened up some new ideas, which is what I said I wanted, and got me to a place that I wouldn't have got to on my own.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
So there you go, an experience with coaching. There will be other experiences as we get more happy volunteers to be the person being coached. We hope that you've enjoyed this, and maybe you've got some ideas from Kate's grand design and sanctuary to take forward. Thanks very much for listening.